All right, folks, one more segment on the day. This is another reaction to Zoran Mandani's victory. So we're going to show now the first 45 seconds of his speech, which apparently Megyn Kelly watched because she really took issue with this. So let's take a look at this. This is the very beginning of his speech in which he shouts out the callous-handed workers.
You, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it.
Okay, so that was the part of the speech that Megyn Kelly watched, I guess. And she did not like it. So here is Megyn Kelly's crash out. She goes nuclear on Cretan Zoran Mandani. Let's take a look at this.
Right? The anger that he spewed. I mean, he dropped the mask. This guy last night, the anger that he spewed. I mean, he dropped the mask immediately. Mamdani did. Immediately. He got up there and was all but rubbing.
Is it, you mean like the entire fucking movement that you shill for that immediately after the election started running around in blackface and calling for people to be deported based on their race or political beliefs? Like that?
Yeah,
like that
I haven't
mask getting dropped?
Yeah, though they didn't drop the mask. I haven't heard her say much about that in these last couple weeks. I don't know, was she off? I don't know. Was she did she get a hot lead on the whereabouts of the Von Trapp family? So she took a couple weeks off and didn't pay. Did she miss that? Did you miss that? Was she off in the mountains somewhere? I don't know where she was.
She was yodeling.
That. Yeah, she's out yodeling somewhere. Exactly. All right, let's take
his hands together, looking at his new power and what he's going to do to the city of New York. God bless them. I wish them all the luck. And I'm worried on a personal basis because we go to New York, of course. If you live anywhere near New York City, you go for shows, you go for occasional dinners. You know, your kids go. I shudder to think of what he's going to do to it.
Again, just like Shmuley at Lincoln Center, I shudder to think of what he's got. I go to shows there. I go to expensive dinners there, right? I live in the suburbs. I go in and I enjoy the playground for rich people when I can. But now, so in the next breath now, she starts talking about what a hypocrite he is for talking about the working people with the bruised hands.
We didn't even talk. We spent so much time on the socialism and his radical Islamist ties. We didn't even really spend a lot of time on the fact that he's budgeting, he said, $65 million to trans anyone who wants it from in-state or out-of-state, minor or adult, on the taxpayer dime.
I'm such a greedy, racist pig that I forgot to go after him on my main grift. I have such blood coming out of my eyes, blood coming out of my wherever, that I was so overwhelmed with hatred at the fact that he's a Muslim who wants to raise taxes by 2%. That I forgot to grift off of his trans policy. God damn it. Damn it. Thousands of dollars on the table because of that. But that's the truth. That's the truth. She's right. They all missed that. They all missed that. It was hidden in plain sight, and then nobody
we didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't because we're not Islamophobic maniacs.
Right. Exactly.
We did a whole segment on that.
That's right. That's right. We outrighted her.
We outrighted Megyn Kelly.
We outflanked you to your right.
Basically wants New York to be a sanctuary for trans children. Last night in his speech, he thanked every foreign nation known to man. Like the Senegalese, whatever, hot dog salesman, the Nepalese cab driver.
The kind
That's
of
who he
people I
sees as his
don't know.
constituency.
Right.
Meanwhile, he's up there talking about how this is for the guys who got the scars on their knuckles and the calluses on their hands. They voted against you, you cretin. They all voted against you. The working class can't stand you. They're not buying your bullshit because the working class never buys bullshit. They can't afford to.
Unfortunately, too many of them buy your bullshit because that's a lie. What you just said there was a lie. These people, they just lie. This is where independent media can be worse than because with corporate media, there's the expectation that like while the guy is on the screen telling you something, there's B-roll showing you evidence for what they're saying. Like there's an expectation of that. Here she could just sit in front of this like, I don't know, metal rose petal background that she has and just not show anything to back up what she's saying. These are from the vote total. So this is not a poll. This is not an exit poll. These are based on the voting. Election districts with mostly households below the median income, Zoran Mandani, 51 to Cuomo's 42. Among households above the median income, in districts with households above the median income, Mamdani 50, Cuomo 41. Amongst districts with more public transit riders, Mamdani 58, Cuomo 36. Look at the two areas where Cuomo won. More drivers, that's like outer borough Queens, where you can keep a car, pretty much Long Island, but technically New York City. And amongst homeowners, look at that. Homeowners voted for Cuomo. Renters voted for Mamdani. Below median income voted for Mamdani. Above Mamdani won among everybody. The idea that there was this one specific niche cohort of like latte sipping hipsters that propelled him to victory is transparently bullshit. He got 1.1 million votes in a city of 8.5 million people in the largest turnout mayoral election in decades. So the idea that like the working class didn't vote for him, it's just a lie. It's just an absolute 100% lie. But she says it anyway. She says it anyway. Why? Because they want to convince you that the actual working people are for them, are for Megyn Kelly. She represents the working person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They actually...
the skinny, rich, white, lawyer, blonde, fake blonde bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Who goes into New York City for dinner and theater, who goes to Broadway and, you know, expensive dinners.
It's because funny how they all tell on themselves like that.
Right.
Like, why on earth, if you had even an inkling of communicating to working people, would you shoot a video in the lobby of the New York Opera House?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
This is all going to be gone.
Yeah. And the other crazy thing was even before she gets into that.
The Nepalese cab driver.
The cab driver and the who?
Whatever. Hot dog salesman. The Nepalese cab driver. That's who he sees as his constituency.
Well, aren't those workers? You just said that the working class didn't vote for him. But before you said, well, the Senegalese cab driver and the Nepalese hot dog vendor, that's his constituency, but not workers. What you're exposing is that what you mean by workers is white workers. You mean Archie Bunkers. That's what a worker is to you. Because I got news for you. If you knew the first thing about what it is to be a hot dog vendor or a food vendor in New York City, you know, those guys have pretty bruised hands, pretty calloused hands. Yeah. They stand outside.
They're out there 12, 16 hours.
In very cold temperatures, 12, 16 hours. I used to work as a tour guide. I had a gig upstate that for one summer that I had to leave very early. I had to drive from Brooklyn upstate to do the tour back into the city. So I would drive on the BQE heading out of Brooklyn through Queens up through the Bronx at like 5 a.m. You know what you see a lot when you're on the BQE at 5 o'clock in the morning? You see these hot dog vendors schlepping their carts in, hitched to the back of their truck, right? It's a hard life. You're out there 12 hours a day, plus the transportation time, getting all the shit back and forth. They got pretty bruised hands. So those are workers, right? But if they're Nepalese or Senegalese, they're not real workers, right? The real workers, the white workers, didn't vote for Mamdani. There's no real evidence for that either, by the way, because I just showed you he won pretty convincingly among households with below median income.
Meanwhile, he's up there talking about how this is for the guys who've got the scars on their knuckles and the calluses on their hands. They voted against you, you cretin. They all voted against you. The working class can't stand you. They're not buying your bullshit because the working class never buys bullshit. They can't afford to. They actually have to struggle to put food on their tables and worry about their kids in school and going to a school that's safe and one that doesn't have 45 different languages coming from the teachers because of the mandatory immigration laws we have now.
So there you have it. So that explains why you were so hostile to the Senegalese cab driver.
Working class people are racist like us.
Yeah.
Right, We've been manipulating them with white grievance for centuries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, real working class people don't like it when there's too many languages spoken at their kids' school, right?
And listen, as a native New Yorker, that's New York. That's not new.
Right. It's always been that way.
I always say in my travels, it's must be a very different experience being from New York because pretty much anywhere you go, you've dealt with people from that place. Right? It's not, no place is as foreign to you as it might be for somebody not from that background. From fucking kindergarten, man. You got kids from Africa in your class. You got kids from Korea. You got kids from Russia. You got kids from Japan. Like that's not new. That is New York by definition.
Yep.
They cannot worry about bullshit. That's the working class did not vote for you.
Yes, they did. Everybody voted for him. Yeah, rich people voted for him too on a whole. There's only one cohort actually that didn't vote for him, and that's ultra rich, ultra Zionists. That was the one cohort. That was one slice of the voting base in New York that did not vote for him. Other than that, he won everywhere except Staten Island, which we put an asterisk next to that entire borough, and it's very low population. But outside of there, everybody voted for him.
They know you're a liar. And as I've been saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing. So don't to spare me your speech about how the people with the calluses on their hands. You're from some rich Ugandan family. You're not even a born American.
Well, he was talking about people with calluses on their hand from gripping the wheel of a cab. And you just said that the Senegalese cab drivers were his constituency. So seems like you have sympathy for one group of people whose hands are calloused from gripping a steering wheel, but no sympathy for the other group who votes for Mamdani because they're from Senegal. See how this is just like, I mean, very, very thinly veiled, just abject.
Yeah, but then they'll tell tell you if you call them a racist that you're woke.
Yeah, I'm woke or I'm being divisive. You're being divisive. You're literally being divisive. This monologue here, you go out of your way at several different moments to distinguish between the white workers and the immigrant workers.
Yep.
You came over here. You have dual citizenship. Your mother said there's nothing American about you, proudly. Your dad thinks we need to be sure to make sure that we don't unfairly castigate suicide bombers. That's who you are. The working class knows you're a phony.
Well, they, like just about every other group, when you crunch the numbers, voted for him pretty overwhelmingly. Once again, there are the actual voting numbers. That's not a poll. That's not an exit poll. Those are actual election results. Which cohort voted for Andrew Cuomo? Homeowners. How rich you got to be to own a home in New York City? Unless you're 100 years old and you inherited.
Well, see, that's the thing, too. Like, it's not coincidentally, he won with
the elderly.
People
who got there
with the elderly, yeah.
Right. But if you were to actually look at the voting data, not the emotional rantings of a hysterical piece of lying racist shit like Megyn Kelly, you see everything she's telling you is garbage. It's garbage. Households below median income, 5142. Did he clean up? Depends on what you mean by clean up, right? But he won a substantial victory. The idea that you could say the working class thinks you're full of shit, that's obviously not true. That's just demonstrably false. If there's anything that the actual data represents, it's that elderly homeowners voted for Andrew Cuomo, which we must assume, is the wealthiest cohort of New Yorkers. So what a load of garbage. That was, of all of the cope that we've seen, like Shapiro was really more boring than anything else. That was the one that I saw that and I'm like, wow, because it's so incoherent. It's so inconsistent. She will act like she's championing the worker while at the same time dismissing the Senegalese cab driver. Oh yeah, they're your base. The hot dog salesman's your base, but the working class sees through you. Well, the hot dog salesmen are the working class.
Right.
Which is
well, I think Megyn, people who are not dedicated Fox viewers, I think first really heard of Megyn Kelly when she blew a gasket about Black Santa Claus.
That's right.
This is really how she made her name, having a meltdown on Fox about Black Santa Claus and Black Jesus.
Right.
Jesus was white. She was the Jesus was white girl. So this is consistent with the course her career has taken. I just wish these people would be honest. Like, Nick Fuentes, man, he's honest. He's a white nationalist.
Oh, yeah.
He's a straight out white nationalist. At least you can have an honest conversation with that guy. He's not coding it. He's a fucking white nationalist.
No, his
Megyn
cards
Kelly
are on the table.
She's a white nationalist, but she doesn't want to admit it. She comes out of corporate media where you just can't straight out say you're a white nationalist. You just have to scream about Black Santa and let people fill in the blanks. She's still playing that game. Somebody should tell her, hey, you're independent now. You could just start playing Deutschland as your theme. Like no one's gonna stop you. Clearly, you don't have any fact checkers to check up on what you're talking about. But also, Megyn in her fucking batshit crazy stupid way is expressing a fear of her whole grifting version of the Republican Party. This is what Thomas Frank wrote about in What's the Matter with Kansas, how these rich oligarchs manipulated blue-collar, legitimate post-NAFTA blue-collar grievance, played on culture war, offered them nothing economically, and got a lot of these working people to go become Republicans. They have to maintain this fiction that they are a party of workers, even though they never intended to do anything for workers. We long speculated, well, the Republican Party got the Democrats' old working class base, at least the white portion of it. They're going to have to start doing things for workers. Nope, they didn't. So now the illusion is shattering, and people like Megyn are seeing their grift go up in smoke. They have to maintain this fiction that they represent workers and that workers are for them. Why would they be for you? Who do you represent? You represent Peter Thiel. You represent a bunch of like a particularly creepy generation of oligarchs and robber barons.
Yeah, exactly.
Please clap.